Welcome, Dungeon Master. Today we're diving deep into designing your D&D world by explaining geography and maps. We're going to explore how to create a compelling and immersive landscape for your players. The story your players will be exploring is top-rate. The world they will be exploring it in should be just as impressive. This is the part where most DMs really get overwhelmed. Geography and maps are time-consuming to make and extremely hard to create if you don't have the knowledge to make them realistically. But I'm going to show you examples from my own worlds and explain everything you need to know to make a realistic-looking map. I'll even show you some shortcuts and software to make your job easier. Putting these videos together takes time. If you like what you see and you'd like to help me out, the link to Dungeon Master Tools is in the description below. Okay, let's get started. Geography is the backbone of your world. It shapes the cultures, economies, and adventures your players will encounter. Let's look at why geography is so important in world building. The geography of your world isn't just about drawing maps. It fundamentally influences how your world functions and how your players interact with it. A well-crafted geography can make your world feel real and lived in. Geography determines where civilizations arise and how they develop. Coastal regions might thrive on trade and fishing, while mountainous areas could foster isolated, hardy communities. Natural features like rivers, mountains, and deserts affect travel and trade. A river might serve as a major trade route, while a mountain range could act as a formidable barrier. Both are also natural boundaries between cultures, tribes, or nations. Geographical features create natural barriers and strategic locations. These can be the sites of conflicts, fortresses, and adventure hooks. By considering these aspects, you can create a world where geography plays a crucial role in shaping its history, politics, and daily life. This makes your setting more engaging and believable. Start with the big picture. Outline the major landmasses and bodies of water. This provides the framework for your world and helps you place important locations. Begin by sketching the broad strokes of your world. Think about the overall shape and size of your continents and oceans. This is your world's skeleton, giving you a framework to build upon. Decide on the number and layout of your continents and major oceans. Consider the shapes and positions of these landmasses. Are they clustered together or spread out? Are there vast open oceans or small inland seas? Next, add significant geographical features like mountain ranges and forests. These elements provide natural boundaries and influence the climate and culture of the regions around them. Think about the different regions and climates of your world. Are there arid deserts, lush jungles, or icy tundras? Consider how these climates affect the inhabitants and their way of life. For example, you might have a central continent where most of the action takes place, surrounded by smaller islands and archipelagos. This continent could have diverse regions, from fertile plains to dense forests. You might also include a distant, mysterious island that hints at future adventures. This island could be the source of ancient legends and hidden treasures. By starting with the big picture, you create a strong foundation for your world. This allows you to build detailed and immersive environments that enhance your storytelling. Next, define the natural features of your world. These elements not only add beauty to your map, but also influence the way your world functions. Natural features are crucial for creating a dynamic and realistic world. They shape the environment and provide resources and challenges for your characters. Let's look at how to incorporate these features into your map. Rivers and lakes are sources of life and natural boundaries. They provide water for drinking and agriculture, routes for travel and trade, and habitats for diverse wildlife. Consider where rivers start and end, and how lakes fit into the landscape. Some things to keep in mind. Rivers never fork, they only confluence. Small streams starting in the mountains join together to become creeks. These creeks are joined by more streams and other creeks to become rivers. Several rivers may find a depression in the land and flow into it, forming a lake. While several water sources may flow into a lake, There will always be only one river flowing out of the lake. Waterways are like a tree, moving from the tips of the leaves inward to the limbs and branches, and eventually the trunk. At each junction, the river gets bigger. What started as a small flowing brook can end up being a navigable river more than a mile wide before it empties into the ocean. Forests and jungles are rich in resources and often shrouded in mystery. They can be home to unique flora and fauna, ancient ruins, and hidden dangers. Think about the size and location of these wooded areas. Deserts and tundras present harsh, challenging environments. These areas are often sparsely populated, but can hold significant cultural or strategic importance. Place these regions where they make sense in your world's climate system. Deserts can be created by a mountain range upwind that blocks rain-laden clouds from crossing. The mountains literally hold the clouds, keeping them from moving farther. The clouds, having nowhere to go, drop their moisture on the one side of the mountain range, leaving the other barren. This is why there is a desert in the southwestern United States. Tundra tends to form close to the poles. This assumes your world is oriented like the Earth, rotating along the solar axis. If your world were laying on its side, one pole would always face the sun, while the other was always dark. Half your world would always be in sunlight, from dawn at the equator to midday at the pole. The other half always dark. This could make for a very interesting space to play in. Perhaps your world has a major river that could serve as a trade route, connecting different cities and regions. This river might be lined with ports and marketplaces, bustling with activity. Eventually, the river would flow into an ocean or sea. The ports there would send and receive goods from other coastal ports, both on this continent and across the ocean. A dense forest could be known for its rare herbs and magical creatures. Adventurers might venture into this forest, seeking ingredients for potions or clues to ancient secrets. By carefully placing and defining natural features, you add layers of complexity and intrigue to your world. These elements can drive your story and provide endless opportunities for adventure. Now, place your settlements and landmarks. These locations will be the hubs of activity and adventure for your players. Settlements and landmarks are where most of the action happens in your world. They provide context, resources, and story hooks for your players. Let's explore how to strategically place these key locations. Major cities are centers of culture, trade, and power. These bustling hubs are often located near water sources, trade routes, or natural resources. The more of these resources there are, the bigger the city will grow. A city with natural resources and a port will be able to easily export those resources out in exchange for desirable commodities coming in. A city with resources in the middle of a continent, with no navigable waterway, will need to export those resources overland by cart. Since a cart holds much less than the hold of a ship, it will take many more trips to export the same amount of resources. Even so, the Silk Road was the overland trade route from Asia to Europe for centuries. Such a trade route ensures riches to the towns along its path, relatively safe passage across the continent, and the opportunity for adventure. Think about the history, architecture, and key figures of these major cities. Towns and villages offer more intimate settings for local stories. These smaller communities can be farming villages, mining towns, or fishing ports. Each should have its own unique character and purpose. A small town or village is likely to be no more than a day's walk from another town, city, or village. Figuring a healthy adult might walk about 3 miles an hour, and assuming an 8-hour day, 3 times 8 gives you 24 miles in a day's walk. If you place a town or village about every 20 to 25 miles or so, you have a relatively easy day's travel between settlements. Landmarks like castles, ruins, and magical sites provide adventure hooks and points of interest. These locations can be the sites of significant historical events, treasure, or hidden dangers. All of these sites are likely to be close to a town, village, or city. Castles are defensive fortifications. They are built to hold land or prevent access. Towns always grow up around them. Ruins are what's left after a site was abandoned. If it was a good site for one town, it is a good site for another. Even magical sites will be near population centers. In fact, such a site is likely to cause a town to grow, as people hearing about it travel there, settle down, and swell the town into a city. For example, A capital city might have a bustling market, a royal palace, and diverse districts. This city could be the political and economic heart of your world, full of intrigue and opportunities. Like other major cities, the capital will be a major city. It will also have the seat of power for the realm. A haunted ruin could be a focal point for a major quest. This ancient site might be filled with artifacts and hidden treasures, attracting adventurers from far and wide. Of course, such a site will also have ghosts, traps, squatters of various kinds, types, and races. By carefully placing settlements and landmarks, you create a world rich with activity and intrigue. These locations provide the backdrop for your players' adventures and help bring your world to life. Strategic locations add depth to your world. These are places of tactical importance that can drive conflict and plot development. Strategic locations are key to adding layers of conflict and intrigue to your world. These areas are often the focus of power struggles and can serve as major plot points in your campaign. Trade routes are the lifelines of commerce and communication. Control over these routes can mean wealth and power, making them targets for bandits, rival factions, and political intrigue. Fortresses and strongholds guard important passes, borders, and resources. They can be sites of epic battles, political power plays, and secret plots. Border regions are often hotspots for conflict and cultural exchange. These areas can be rich with tension and opportunities for diplomacy, espionage, and warfare. For example, a fortress controlling a mountain pass might be crucial for defending against invasions and maintaining trade. This stronghold could be the site of a major siege or a political power struggle. A contested border town could be a melting pot of cultures and a center for espionage. This town might see frequent skirmishes and secret negotiations, providing a rich setting for intrigue and adventure. By creating strategic locations, you add dynamic elements to your world that can drive conflict and plot development. These areas become focal points for your campaign, offering endless possibilities for adventure. Don't forget to add unique and magical elements to your map. These features set your world apart and spark the imagination of your players. Unique and magical elements give your world a distinctive flavor and make it memorable. These features can add wonder and mystery, providing endless opportunities for storytelling. Floating islands can be homes for rare creatures or ancient civilizations. They can be reached by special means, like airships or magical portals, adding a sense of wonder and adventure. As it is a floating island, it may be stationary, or it might wander with the winds. A stationary island can be presented on your main map. A wandering island would simply be a separate map of the island. You, as the DM, would then add the description of it in the sky as it floated overhead. Enchanted forests are filled with magical flora and fauna. These mystical woods can be the setting for unique encounters, hidden treasures, and ancient secrets. Remember, all forests were considered magical or haunted during the Middle Ages. They are dark places during the day, and even darker at night. No one with any sense wants to be caught in the woods at night. Ley lines are sources of mystical power that crisscross the land. They can influence magic, technology, and even the politics of your world, making them valuable and contested. If your world has ley lines, it is likely that various sites will be at the crossings and junctions of these lines. Holy temples, forgotten ruins, monoliths, or major cities, all are likely to be at the conjunctions of ley lines. For example, a city on a floating island might be an ancient center of learning and magic. Access to this city could be limited, requiring special quests or permissions. In fact, such a place of magical learning might make gaining access to the island a test, where only those with the knowledge can gain entrance. This is similar to the Magic Castle, a place where stage magicians gather in our world. There appears to be no way in. Only a magician will know what to look for and be able to gain entrance to the Magic Castle. An enchanted forest could be the setting for a quest to find a rare herb or a lost artifact. The forest's magical nature adds challenges and opportunities for creative problem-solving. Not to mention the creatures within the forest that are likely to guard such an item. By incorporating unique and magical elements, you create a world that captivates your players' imaginations and offers endless possibilities for adventure. These features make your world stand out and provide rich storytelling opportunities. With the major elements in place, it's time to refine your map. Adding details brings your world to life and makes it easy to read and understand. Refining your map involves adding the smaller details that make your world feel real and immersive. Let's look at some techniques to enhance your map's detail and clarity. Add textures and colors to represent different terrains like forests, mountains, and deserts. These details help players visualize the environment and make your map visually appealing. Use symbols to mark important locations like cities, fortresses, and landmarks. Label these locations clearly to make navigation easier for your players. Include a legend on your map to explain the symbols and colors you've used. This helps players understand the map at a glance. For example, enhance a mountain range by adding shading and texture to show elevation and ruggedness. This makes the mountains look more realistic and helps players understand the terrain. Label a major trade route that runs through several key cities. Use a distinct color or pattern for the route and add markers for important waypoints. By refining and detailing your map, you make it a powerful tool for storytelling and gameplay. These details help immerse your players in the world and provide them with valuable information. By now, you should have a solid understanding of how to create detailed and immersive maps for your D&D world. Let's quickly recap the key points we've covered. We began with the importance of geography and world building, laying out the big picture with major landmasses and bodies of water. We then defined natural features like rivers, forests, and mountains, placed settlements and landmarks, and identified strategic locations. We added unique and magical elements to make your world stand out and refined the map with detailed textures, symbols, and labels. Creating a detailed map is a vital part of building an immersive and engaging world for your players. Remember, the key is to have fun and let your creativity flow. Your map is more than just a guide. It's a tool for storytelling and adventure. In the description of the video, I've included links to various map-making resources. These include city and town generators, as well as sites and software, both free and paid, for making larger area maps. Remember, an entire campaign can start with a single city. Months of real time can pass without the party ever wanting to leave the city, if there are things to keep them there. Nothing beyond the city walls needs to be created until the party eventually leaves the city. At that point, you only need to create the new destination and the points between. The map only gets filled in as the party travels. This makes it interesting for the party, interesting for you, and a lot easier than creating an entire world all at once. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more Dungeon Master tips and guides. And if there's anything I didn't cover that you think I should have, let me know in the comments below. Your feedback helps me create better content for you. Happy world building, Dungeon Master! Don't forget to subscribe and check out our other videos for more tips and guides. Until next time, may your adventures be epic and your maps be legendary.